Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
An international conference marking World Biodiversity Day, celebrated every year on May 22nd, opened today in Algiers with the participation of national and international officials and experts under the slogan Algeria Environmental Diversity. As the Palestinian health minister warned against a total collapse of the health system, 5 Palestinians were today killed in airstrikes targeting the northern part of the Gaza Strip. And at least 90 miners were killed in a gas explosion at the Liushniu coal mine in northeastern China in what has become the country's deadliest mining accident in 17 years. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. First in our news, the Speaker of the People's National Assembly, Mr. Brahim Boughali, is paying a visit to Minsk, the capital of Belarus, as part of efforts aimed at strengthening bilateral parliamentary cooperation. The 3-day visit comes within the framework of strengthening bilateral parliamentary cooperation and exchanging views on various issues of common concern. The General Directorate of Communication at the Presidency of the Republic has extended its sincere condolences following the death of sports journalist of Algerian television, Driss Daqiq. In its message of condolence, the General Directorate of Communication at the Presidency of the Republic extended its sincere condolences and deep sympathy to the family of the sport journalist Driss Daqiq, who passed away after a rich media career full of contributions and professionalism. The General Directorate of Communication at the Presidency of the Republic also recalled that the deceased was one of the most prominent figures in sport journalism in Algeria, distinguished by his specialization in several disciplines, particularly athletics. His name remains associated with the sports service of Algerian television, through which he covered the largest national and international sporting events, leaving behind a distinguished rank and an honorable professional career. An international conference marking World Biodiversity Day, celebrated every year on May 22nd, opened today in Algiers with the participation of national and international officials and experts under the slogan Algeria Environmental Diversity. The event, inaugurated in the presence of the Minister of Environment and Welfare, Kautar Krikou, several government members, and the President of the Constitutional Court, Leila Aslawi, focuses on national efforts aimed at protecting biodiversity and preserving natural resources, while also strengthening awareness about the importance of safeguarding ecosystems. The conference addresses several themes, including a presentation on Algeria's achievements in biodiversity protection, as well as the country's biodiversity strategy in line with the global biodiversity framework. It also features discussion sessions, the screening of a documentary on wildlife, and a special photo exhibition on biodiversity in Algeria and the effects of colonialism on biodiversity, in addition to a post-stamp exhibition. The program also includes a panel bringing together representatives of the Algerian community abroad to discuss the contribution of diaspora expertise to efforts aimed at preserving Algeria's biodiversity, as well as the release of a new postage stamp to mark World Biodiversity Day. Still with the domestic file, on the sidelines of the 79th World Health Assembly in Geneva, the Health Minister Mohammed Sadiq Ait Masoudan has held a series of meetings aimed at strengthening international and African health cooperation. Marin Berche has more details.
The members of the Algerian delegation met with the Director of Management and Partnerships, Christine Stegling, at the Joint United Nations Programme on HIV/AIDS to discuss priority issues in the fight against HIV/AIDS, particularly the elimination of mother-to-child transmission through early screening, improved healthcare and medical follow-up for mothers and newborns. The talks also focused on strengthening prevention among vulnerable groups through awareness campaigns, easier access to healthcare services, early diagnosis, and comprehensive support. Both sides examined prospects for expanding cooperation, including the possible establishment of a regional UNAIDS office in Algeria, and reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening partnership and coordination in support of public health and sustainable development goals. In a separate meeting, Mr. Aid Masouden met with the Regional Director for Africa of the World Health Organization, Mohamed Yacoub Janabi. The discussion focused on health systems in Africa and ways to reinforce cooperation in prevention, disease control and healthcare coverage, while promoting Algeria's expertise and support for African health systems through training and exchanges of experience. The minister also held talks with his Mauritanian counterpart, Tiam Tijani, on strengthening bilateral health cooperation. The two sides praised the strong ties existing between Algeria and Mauritania and highlighted the progress made in areas such as kidney transplantation, while discussing ways to expand cooperation through training programs, exchanges of expertise and partnerships between healthcare institutions to improve medical services and patient care.
And the delegation from Algeria's High Authority for Transparency, Prevention and Fight Against Corruption, led by its president Salima Mousirati, held talks in Vienna with the Qatari delegation headed by Hamad bin Nasser Al Minsad on the sidelines of the 17th session of the UN Convention Against Corruption Implementation Review Group. Marim Bashir develops.
Mrs. Mosrati praised Qatar's efforts in strengthening Arab and international cooperation against corruption and called for closer bilateral cooperation through the exchange of expertise in transparency, whistleblower protection, conflict of interest management, and academic training programs. Mr. El Misnet, for his part, welcomed the initiatives to conclude a cooperation agreement between the two sides, highlighting the strong relations between Algeria and Qatar. The two parties also discussed Algeria's evaluation process under the Arab Convention Against Corruption and agreed on the importance of organizing joint workshops and training sessions, as well as sharing experiences in public sector ethics, access to information, and the use of artificial intelligence in combating corruption. During the meetings, the Algerian delegation also participated in sessions on promoting anti-corruption values among youth and protecting sport from corruption, including illegal betting and money laundering linked to sports. In her remarks, Mrs. Mosrati reaffirmed Algeria's commitment to the UN Convention Against Corruption and highlighted national efforts, including the launch of a specialized master's degree and a joint research laboratory dedicated to anti-corruption studies, alongside awareness and training campaigns targeting university students and academics.
As the Palestinian Health Minister Majid Abu Ramadan warned against a total collapse of the health system, 5 Palestinians were today killed in airstrikes targeting the northern part of the Gaza Strip. According to hospital sources, several other policemen were wounded in the air raids which hit a police site in the sector of Al-Tuam. This came as the Palestinian Health Minister affirmed that the current conditions were going beyond the resilience capacity of any health system. Addressing a meeting held in Geneva outside the World Health Assembly, he said the disastrous health situation in the Gaza Strip was marked by the destruction of medical infrastructure, of the emergency services and health equipment, as well as serious care shortages. The Palestinian official stated that the crisis was also beset in the West Bank, including occupied Al-Quds, where the continued Israeli military operations and the displacement of populations were exerting more pressure on health services. He urged the international community to take steps urgently to protect the health centers and medical teams and to back the activities of UNRWA, whose action, he stressed, is vital for millions of Palestinian refugees. Meanwhile, the Palestinian presidency held a joint declaration issued by the leaders of 9 European countries undermining the escalation of condemning the escalation in the settlers-related violence and the Israeli occupying authorities' policy in the West Bank. It was quoted by the news agency Wafa, saying that such a declaration constituted a major step towards the right direction and as a strong international stance that backs the international legality and rejects the unilateral measures that undermine the two-state solution. The Palestinian presidency urged for the setting up of serious and efficient mechanisms to translate the position taken by Germany, the United Kingdom, France, Italy, Norway, the Netherlands, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand into concrete measures. And in Lebanon, 10 people, including 6 rescuers, have been killed in airstrikes launched by the Israeli army against the northern part of the country. The attack targeted the region of Tyre. Shifting now to Africa, in Uganda, Uganda has confirmed that 3 new cases of Ebola, bringing the total number of infections to 5 as the outbreak spreads from the neighboring Democratic Republic of the Congo. The new cases include a driver who transported the country's first Ebola patient, a healthcare worker infected while treating that patient, and a Congolese woman who arrived by air. All contacts have been identified and placed under monitoring. The UN spokesperson for the UN Secretary General, Stéphane Dujarric, said that the UN is deploying additional staff and applying lessons from past outbreaks to strengthen the Ebola response, stressing that rapid community-level action is essential. Let's listen to him.
Mr. Fletcher said we're applying lessons from previous outbreaks. Containment depends on fast, coordinated action across the community. At the community level, more staff from key UN agencies and partners are being deployed this weekend to reinforce our efforts on the ground. The Ebola outbreak is happening in some of the most difficult operating environments for humanitarians across the world. We are working to secure safe, sustained access for frontline responders, including in areas that are controlled by armed groups and not by the government. It is essential that there be no obstruction whatsoever to our humanitarian work. Community trust is essential. We will continue delivering wider humanitarian support for people affected, engage closely with them and understand their needs and preposition. Meanwhile, in Geneva this morning, Dr. Tedros, the Director General of the World Health Organization, said we're now revising the outbreak's risk assessment to very high at the national level, high at the regional level, but remaining low at the global level.
And the World Health Organization, for its part, has issued an international health alert over the outbreak in eastern DRC, where nearly 750 suspected cases and 177 suspected deaths have been reported. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus warned that the epidemic is spreading rapidly, while health officials stress that prevention and early detection remain the main means of containing the virus. And at least 19 miners were killed in a gas explosion at the Lishunio coal mine in northeastern China in what has become the country's deadliest mining accident in 17 years. A total of 247 miners were underground when the explosion occurred. Most of the workers were rescued this morning, while emergency teams continued rescue operations after dozens had initially remained trapped underground. Earlier reports had put the death toll at 8, with 38 miners still trapped. Authorities said this or the high levels of carbon monoxide, a toxic and odorless gas, were detected in the mine following the blast. Chinese President Xi Jinping called for the mobilization of all means to treat the injured and ordered a thorough investigation into the accident, stressing the need for all regions and departments to remain vigilant regarding workplace safety. Emergency services deployed 347 rescuers to the site, located in Shanxi province, one of China's main coal-producing regions, about 500 kilometers southeast or southwest of Beijing. With this, we come to the end of this news bulletin for today. Time now for weekly programs with our colleague Jamal Zilmani, a program devoted to tourism in Algeria. As for me, I'll meet again tomorrow for a fresh edition of our news bulletin. Until then, stay tuned to Radio Algeria International, and bye-bye for now.
Culture and arts. Culture and arts.
The third National Female Creation Festival, devoted this year to accessories, ended today with more curious visitors coming to discover all what is about traditions and customs of the four corners of Algeria. Bastion 23 was during a whole week a melting pot where women exhibited their works including clothes, jewels, handbags, shoes and pots, among many other things. The third edition, which was held under the theme Elegant Forever, was marked by the participation of Spanish designer Sara Diaz Marcos and Senegalese artist Sadia Gaye, who already worked with Yves Saint Laurent and Dior. Our program Culture and Arts is inviting you this week to find out more about Algerian traditions with our correspondents. We fly to the south of the country to get acquainted with the jewels and clothing of the province of Gardaya. Mahfoud Kakar reports.
The Mza Valley is known for its wide range of customs and traditions beside clothes and jewelry. Among the clothes that women put are tajarbit. It is a wool-made clothes with red, brown, black and white colors. It is put on with heavy silver jewels, mainly tamril round the neck, الدواح to hold the lady's hair, beside tisarnas to hold both sides of what called tajarbit, which is put on to receive one of family's members being a long time absent of home. Here is Kamal Ramadan from Zab Valley Promotion Office in more details about some of the jewels and clothing in the area.
In Mza Valley, we have tangible and intangible patrimony. For example, we have a lot of clothes like tajarbit, like al-hambal, and about jewelry, we have brooches and fubles, which sometimes made with golden or silver. Usually, this used for marriage in ceremony. Some things put in the hands and some in the ear for this. And about this historic, you know this in about more than 4 centuries. You have big scholar whose name is Sheikh Hamid Sahib, who come from Jerba Island, from Tunisia, who come with a lot of craftsmen who made this jewelry. And from about 3 centuries, there are a lot of workshops, certainly in Gardaya and Melika and Benizgen and Al-Atif. The region is famous, certainly in Benizgen and the marketplace of Gardaya. We have a lot of shops for jewelry, for silver and golden. And we have also carpets. It's famous like Gandora, Mozabit and Benizgen carpets, and also the tajarbit, a principal access to door in the married room. And also Al-Hambal is very famous, has a lot of colors, certainly natural colors like yellow and black, certainly, and the green color. And also we have tenture of Benizgen. This is like an raised stages and is decorated. Also we add with this, the color is natural of this carpet.
It is worth mentioning that women at home make some woolen clothes for both genders, like t-shirt for men, especially during winter to protect them from cold. Also ahuli as a veil to cover women. They also make a kind of jewels using some plants with perfume. It is called ashab. There is another cloth as men's woolen strip. It is special to small boys. It is called the elage. It is colored with black, red, white and yellow. It tells a story more than that, a tragedy of the killed father coming to see his son of 3 years old for the first time. So the wife, after hearing the bad news, she has written this tragedy using symbols of sadness instead of happiness. From Gardaya, Mahfoud Karkaf, Radio Algeria International.
Now we go to the western province of Tlemcen, which was recently hosting the event, Tlemcen, capital of Islamic culture, with our correspondent there, Jafar Dahesh.
The western city of Tlemcen is undoubtedly the richest region in the whole Maghreb in terms of crafts in general and traditional dresses in particular. In fact, there are several types of dresses, but the most symbolic is the one called the shidda. It is the dress of the bride in most regions of the province of Tlemcen. Then comes another type of local dress, commonly called rda, which is lighter than the shidda. As far as the kaftan cloth, it is a garment worn practically by all women in all the west of the country. The shidda of Tlemcen is a princely dress. The whole suit is made up of a silk dress with white sleeves decorated with pearls and embroidered with laces. At the top, the bride wears a conic crown named a taj, embroidered with what we call fitla, a thread of gold made in Tlemcen. The lower part of the crown is constituted of a golden necklace decorated with the precious stones called zuruf. Higher in the front part, there is a jbin that comes in a genius accordance with al-khursa, the big pearl earrings. As far as the garment, it constitutes of a long dress in fine and brilliant tissues, which we call rda. The women put then around the waist a futa, which is another dress of silk, and golden sands, commonly also called lamtaqla, because of the number of golden silk stripes it carries. At the top of this garment there is a short kaftan usually worked with the fatla. This garment is furnished with jewels of pearls that cover the breast of the bride, called al-johar. Since the shidda is usually worn once in a woman's life, and because of its higher price, families tend nowadays to exchange parts of it to constitute a complete shidda dress for their daughters on the occasion of their wedding ceremony. Tlemcen, Jafar Dahash, Radio Algeria International.
To the east, particularly to Betna, the hometown of Shawi people, our correspondent Nasser Mena introduced us to the al-haf, a piece of cloth that women wear.
Among the most famous traditional female clothes in the Ras is what we call the milhfa or the al-haf. This traditional beautiful wearing known all over the Ras was put on by old women. According to old people, women in the Ras in the past wore only this type of clothes and they did not wear something else. The al-haf is made of a long piece of cloth exactly 10 feet long and exceeding 80 centimeters wide. This piece of cloth is cut into two equal parts that are assembled along the entire length by a seam and sometimes knotted together. Our wearing is designed in black cotton, embroidered with different colors, generally green, yellow and red, on the upper and lower sides of the al-haf. For the belt, it is made exclusively by the woman herself, who chooses the colors. It should be very long so that the woman can turn it round her body and tie it on the side. On the arms, women put under the al-haf what they call likmam. It is made with another type of cloth. Generally, women at that time preferred benzhira in different colors, a beautiful cloth imported in that time from China. After putting the al-haf, the woman should also put on some scarves on the head with what they call shesh, another long piece of cloth, generally called crepe de chine. This crepe de chine embroidered on the two sides. And it is also sticked to the head with a scarf that can be used to hide the woman's face when meeting foreign people. The woman also should put on her silver jewelry on the head, on the face, on the arms, and even on the legs. But now, Nasr Mana, Radio Algeria International.
We will be right back with more cultural news on culture and arts, so don't go anywhere.
Culture and arts. Culture and arts. All about culture, cinema, theatre, music, festivals and others are in our program Culture and Arts every Wednesday on RAI.
About 100 calligraphers coming from 20 countries as well as Algeria are taking part in the 4th International Cultural Calligraphy Festival, now being held at the Mustafa Pasha Palace in Algiers. 3 calligraphic styles, including Kufic, Farsi and Maghribi, are mainly presented by calligraphers from Azerbaijan, Bangladesh, Iran, Tunisia, Turkey, Syria and Egypt, among others. The Asian calligraphy is represented by China and Japan. The event is to last until the 7th of June. In cinema, Algerian filmmaker Mirza Alwesh was awarded the Label Europa Cinemas for his film At-Ta'ib or The Repentant at La Canzane at the 2012 Cannes Festival.